Assalamu alaikum, wonderful humans. Welcome to another episode of That Behavior Change Show. I know this is a bit of a late one because it's been a busy week and it's snowing here in Scotland. So, yay, winter is here. But I was just kind of wanted to pop in and talk to you guys about a subject, a topic that I see this a lot, right? From my, from the coaching space, from my own personal experience, because I'm someone who's still working on improving this quality, so to speak, this mindset, so to speak. So I'm speaking from my own personal experience and the experience of coaching hundreds of ambitious women, professional women, incredible homemakers as well from all over the globe. And this is the idea around the all or nothing mentality, right? And here's the thing. As humans, we often attach ourselves with a certain identity. All right. And there's an ego attached to that identity. Example, I could attach myself with an identity of I'm a fit person, right? So I'm healthy, I'm fit, I exercise, I eat well, and all of these things. And if anything happens in life that can threaten that identity, right, it's going to impact how I show up. It's going to make me feel a certain way. It's going to scare me, right? And the reason it's going to scare me is because that's a direct hit to my ego, right? Because if I'm not this person who's healthy and fit or it's well anymore, if I can't achieve these things that I'm so used to achieving anymore, then who am I? Right? So this idea of all or nothing mentality is often this cognitive distortion, you know, with regards to how we can view things in black or white. I'm either successful or I'm not. I'm either fit or I'm not. I'm either going 100% or I'm at 0%, right? Now, there's nothing wrong with wanting to achieve things. Like as Muslims, like Allah told us that we want whatever it is that we're working on, we want to do it to the best of our abilities. We want to do it with ihsan. We want to do it with excellence. We want to give it our all, right? So it's important to want to do the best in whatever that you're doing. But it is important to also understand that in life, things are going to happen, right? In life, you're going to be in situations where you're not going to be able to give it your all the way you would like to or the way you normally would. And we need to be able to adjust with that. And when we can't adjust with that situation, that's when we start to waver between the all side of the spectrum, which I'm doing everything 100%, or the nothing side of the spectrum where I'm giving up, I'm not doing it at all. I'll give an example. I see this a lot in weight loss, and I'm sure if you've gone through the weight loss journey yourself, you've experienced this as well. This is when, we see people starting a weight loss journey. The first few weeks is going really well. They're hitting all the right boxes, right? They're eating well, they're exercising, they're doing all of these things because, they have more energy, they have more time, life is easier. So everything they want to do, they do it in a way that they perceive as being perfect. So again, perfection is something that we define ourselves. We define it ourselves. We put that ceiling on ourselves. We put that sort of pressure on ourselves, right? So you're doing all of these things in a way that you perceive as being perfect, right? And then something happens in life where maybe you have something happened at work and you have a deadline, and now you are slightly more stressed, right? And then you find yourself having a few more cookies than you would like to because, hey, you were perfect before, you've cut out all cookies, and now you had a couple of cookies. Now, the language, if you're like me, if you're someone who's working on the all or nothing mentality, the language usually is, oh my God, I had a cookie. Why did I do it? I've spoiled my diet and da da da. And we start to have such a level of self criticism now, right? Because now, if I'm not someone who was amazing, who was perfect at this diet, right? If it didn't go 100%, then what it means is now I'm a failure. right? And the more we do that, the more we talk negatively about ourselves, the more we see ourselves as failures, the higher the hit to our ego, right? The more hit our ego takes. And in the long run, we just can't take that hit anymore. So we stop and give up, because I would rather not do something that I'm not 100% certain that I can achieve it. Because if I can achieve it the way I perceive as being perfect, right, my ego is going to take a hit. My identity is going to take a hit. So you know what? I'd rather not do that at all. And again, you may have also this experience where you want to start a journey, a health journey, but then you're thinking to yourself, but what if I can't do it, right? What if it doesn't work, right? What if I put in all the effort and I don't lose the weight, right? That kind of language, because again, we want to be certain because uncertainty scares us. And we have a level of uncertainty at all. We choose to say, you know what? I would rather not realize my faults or my inabilities, right? I would rather not realize them, and I'd rather stay here where I'm safe, where I'm certain, where my ego is protected, where I don't have to face the risk of failure. Does that make sense? So the all or nothing mentality is amazing when it comes to pushing us to work harder, pushing us to do more, pushing us to achieve things. But we need to be very mindful in how we are going to navigate that ambition and that mindset when things don't go our way, because guess what? Life is going to happen. You're not always going to have the same level of energy. You're not always going to have the same amount of time. You're not going to always have the same level of certainty, things working out, right? And when you have those days when things are not as perfect as you'd like to be, having self-compassion with yourself is absolutely key, because the number one thing that makes people stop and give up is self-criticism. Or I can't do this, or I'm always, why do I always fail? Why do I always stop? Why did I have that cookie? I am weak. I am this, I'm that. Just constantly talking about yourself in a negative way. And because it's so draining, it drains you, it just makes you stop and give up on the journey altogether. Being able to navigate life, if you want to make this a lifestyle change, you need to be able to navigate life, to navigate the stresses of life. Some days consistency can look like an hour workout, amazing. But other days, consistency can look like a 4-minute workout, because that's all you can do for the day. And for that day, that's what perfection could look like. So being okay with the journey looking different every single day and adapting with the stresses of life, with the changes of life, right, becomes really, really key. Because when we're either at 100 or 0, we're missing out on the 99. We're missing out. Right? And you're human. I promise you, you're never going to stay at 100. Doesn't work. No matter how determined you are, no matter how much willpower you have, no matter what happens, you're never going to stay at 100, because your willpower is not infinite. Your determination is not infinite. Your energy is not infinite. But life is going to keep happening, and you need to be able to know how to play in the middle. You could do everything perfectly great, amazing, but you know what? On the days that you're not getting it as perfectly as you defined it, as you wanted to, guess what? That is okay too, because the most important thing in this journey is consistency. You're not going to get a medal for it. You're not going to get a medal for it, because often it's just about you, and it's these judgments and the pressure that we put on ourselves. They're the pressures that make us stop and give up, because we can't handle that level of pressure, especially when life is happening. So be okay with things not being perfect all the time. Understand that life is going to happen, and your job and my job is to adapt, right? With the things that are happening in life, doing the best we can given the season of life we're in. I'm 42 right now, alhamdulillah. Right, I've got 4 children, alhamdulillah. But how I'm training now is very different to how I could train when I was 30. I could do a lot more cardio when I was 30 and all of these things. But I can't do that now, because if I did that, my body wouldn't recover very well as I'm going through a perimenopause. Do you know what I mean? So if I sit there and just beat myself about it, why can't I train the way I used to? Why couldn't I do this? Why can't I do that? How would that help me? It wouldn't, because what would happen with that level of self criticism, that level of beating my identity down all the time, right, would just make me stop and give up. So what do? We just adjust. We adapt. We become flexible. We find other ways to navigate our health given the season of life we're in. So here's what you can do. I like to give actionable steps. I'm going to share with you the things that helped me, and I'm hoping that they're going to help you. The moment you find yourself, and you're going to find yourself doing this a lot, is if you're someone who's ambitious, who's driven, who's used to achieve things a certain way, right? You're going to have moments where you're going to attempt something and it's not going to be as perfect as you would like it. When that happens, be aware of the language that starts happening in your mind. Take a few breaths and listen to how you're talking to yourself. Listen to that internal dialogue. What are you telling yourself? And challenge it. Say I start a weight loss journey and I've been doing really well and something happened, right? And I had a horrible day unexpectedly. I ate all the things that I didn't want to eat. I didn't work out, right? My internal dialogue would be, here you go again, Yusra. You're going to fail again. You've done this so many times, right? You've paid for this program and now you've just had a box of cookies. You didn't work out, right? You're going to fail again, just like last 100 times, right? That's often what the internal dialogue is going to be. Right? My job would be to breathe and to challenge that dialogue and say, no, I know I am having a bad day today, but someone's health and someone's progress is not determined by what they do in one day. It's determined by what they do consistently. So while my day hasn't been great today, it's not aligned to the goals that I want to achieve, I still have the opportunity to change the next meal. I still have the opportunity to change how tomorrow is going to play out, right? And I'm going to plan better. So what you're doing here is, number one, you're acknowledging that your day didn't go as well. You're acknowledging that you're human and that is okay. And the second thing is you're planning, right? Should this scenario happen again, what systems am I going to put in place to do my best to make sure it doesn't happen again? Just plan around it. The problem with us is that we stay so emotional. We stay in the feeling of our thinking. We drown ourselves in guilt and we beat ourselves up about it, as opposed to thinking it from the logical perspective. I know it's harder. I know the health journey can be an emotional journey, but we need to put some logic in it. So if you think about it from the logical perspective, it's easier for you to see clearer. It's easier for you to plan better. And most of all, it's easier for you to stay consistent. Because that person who's healthy, right, through their lives, I promise you, they haven't been on the journey of starting when everything is 100%, when everything is perfect, and then stopping when things get harder and calling themselves names. No, they learned how to be consistent through the easy times, through the hard times, through the perfect times, and through the not perfect times. They learned to adapt. And one of the most bigger things that is important when it comes to learning how to adapt is challenging that internal dialogue with yourself. Acknowledge things didn't go great, right? Acknowledge that it's okay. Expect these days to happen, because this journey is not about what you do in one day. This journey is about what you do consistently over time. Okay. And the third thing is put plans, systems in place to increase the chances of you taking the actions that are aligned with your goals. That's the first thing. Another thing is, whatever goals that you have, make sure that they're realistic. Like I said, I'm a mother of four. For me, saying I'm going to train 6 days a week is very unrealistic. I'd be lucky if I get 3 days in. Tell you that much. Right. So set goals that you're confident and you feel competent in hitting every single day. Because when you set goals that are too high and you have a busy day or hectic life, chances of you hitting those goals are going to be lower. And every time you don't hit a goal, you're going to judge yourself for it. So just to reduce your judgment for yourself, set goals that you feel, okay, I'm setting this goal. I feel, given how hectic my life is right now, I feel competent that I can hit this goal. And sometimes that can look like, you know what, I'm going to make sure that in one of the meals I have enough greens and have enough protein, and I'm going to work on that for the next week. And that could be a goal. Right? Because when you can build that consistently, it becomes easier to build. And remember, goals are not your habits aren't built by the things that you do in one day. It's the things that you do consistently. So if you're someone who's busy and you have a mindset of all or nothing, setting smaller goals are often the best ones, because it reduces the chances of you judging yourself and increasing the chances of you hitting those goals every single day. So number one, just to reiterate, not every day is going to be perfect. You only have a limited amount of energy, limited willpower, and all that stuff, limited time. So be kind to yourself. Lack of kindness is one of the major reasons for a failure in this journey, as well as self-criticism. Right? So forget the going 100% all the time. If you can, great. If you can't, that is okay too, because consistency can look different every single day, and that is okay. Action steps. Number one, when you find yourself judging yourself, step back, breathe, and challenge that language, challenge that internal dialogue. Number two, a plan around how you can increase your chances of hitting that goal that you wanted to do on that day the next time, should you have a day like today. Say, if I'm stressed with work, what is it that I can do to still stay aligned with my goals, right? As opposed to emotionally eat or something like that. Number three, whatever goals that you set, make sure that you feel competent and confident in your ability to achieve them. Right. That way it would increase your library of evidence that you can do it, that you've got this, and also reduce the self-shaming and the self-judgment and the self-criticism. Okay. That's it from me today. If you enjoy these episodes, I would love for you to leave a comment. I would love for you to subscribe, and I would love for you to share this with your friends and family, because the psychology of health and weight loss and all of these things is really lacking in the health and fitness space. And this is what I'm hoping to bring into this space. We can't separate our psychology from our physiology. It's all very, very much connected. So if we want to be physically healthy, we need to understand what needs to happen, what we need to change psychologically as well, for us to achieve the physical goals that we want to achieve, inshallah. Okay, my beautifuls, until next time, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum.